Are you tired of people making awful homemade Magic the Gathering cards? Well, you've come to the wrong place, because here are more of them, made by me, Loki the Gamer. Here are my Civilization 6 Magic cards. This time we look at Scythia. The 6 cards in the Scythian sets will include 1 legendary land, 1 leader, 2 unique builds, 1 card based on the leader's agenda, and 1 bonus card, so a very typical traditional single leader civ. We'll be talking about military bonuses, so expect some stats boost, and also extra units, bonus units, that will translate to copies of creatures, of course. There will be the concept of wounded units. What does it mean to fight a wounded unit? Well, in Magic terms, it'll mean to block or be blocked by a creature that's been dealt damage this turn. There'll be lots of direct damage also in order to take advantage of that. There'll be the concept of healing. Units that heal in Civ 6 will mean creatures that get to come back from the graveyard in Magic, so some recurring effects. There will be incentive to build your deck around a certain type of creatures, so a tribal deck. In the case of Scythia, of course, horses, horses, and more horses. But not only horses, also mounts. Thematically, the exact same thing. There will be some gold. Gold will translate to treasure tokens, and there will be some faith generation that will translate to scrying. There's many options, many logical ways to translate faith into a Magic concept. This time for Scythia, I chose scrying. The color scheme of Scythia will be red, white, black. I was inspired by the 3-colored land Nomad's Outpost. It seems to fit the Scythian people very well. It seems like it was made for them. So the people of the Great Asian Steppes fit that lifestyle very much to a T. So red, white, black seems perfect for them. And let's take a look at the land of Scythia in Civilization 6. The power is called People of the Steppe. They receive a second light cavalry unit or Saka horse archer each time they train a light cavalry unit or Saka horse archer. So really, double the units. So double the fun, double the headache for your opponents. So yes, indeed, in the early game, the Scythian people definitely gained by making a whole bunch of units, mounted units no less, which are especially difficult to deal with given how quick they maneuver around the map, how much they can really swarm you, and just make some early conquests with all of that extra military power early in the game, and then you are set for the rest of the game. That's usually how a Scythian game goes. Let's see how I translated this power into a legendary land that wasn't too broken. I had to find a way to make copies of horse creatures or mounts or archers, and that's exactly what I did, and tried to make it not too overwhelmingly powerful. The legendary land of Scythia is a rare card that enters tapped. The People of the Steppe power says for a red, white, and a black, tap it and create a token that's a copy of target horse or mount or archer creature that entered this turn. So there you go, you can make a copy of any horse, mount, or archer creature as long as it entered this turn. That makes it, I believe, very balanced because it's not really easy to spare all the mana needed to make that copy after you've already cast a horse, mount, or archer spell. So you either just cast a very cheap spell and then you have 3 mana left and you have to rely on Scythia itself. So really you're losing 4 mana because you can't use the mana from Scythia if you're busy tapping Scythia. So you're really losing 4 mana to use this ability, so your creature had better be very cheap to cast. So if you just cast a cheap horse or mount or archer, then conceivably you have enough mana left over to make a copy of it. Or the other option is to find a way to make tokens. Tokens that don't really require any mana or very much to make, and then you have all your mana base left over to make that copy. So it's got a very good potential, but the mana cost makes it very expensive, and perhaps too much so. But that is what a well-balanced land looks like, I feel. So, and this is coming from the guy who made crazy, impossibly powerful land cards such as Germany, the Hansa, Australia, England. Yeah, those are some of my pretty powerful game-breaking ones. But here we are with a, I feel, fairly well-balanced land with some potential, but not too much. and ultimately only truly useful in a tribal deck of horses and mounts or archers. So just like that powerful ally land that exists out there. It's powerful, I use it in my ally deck, but no one else ever would use it. So yeah, so a niche card, but fairly useful. And of course, it is a triple land. It taps for one of each color, red, white, or black, but the black loses you life. So I think also that is another way of balancing it very well. Tamairis, the leader of Scythia, the queen of Scythia, has the ability Killer of Cyrus. Yes, it's the only one who actually calls out by name another leader in Civ 6. Well, history claims that indeed she killed Cyrus herself in hand-to-hand combat. You go, girl. And the ability says all units receive extra combat strength when attacking wounded units. So there's the concept of a wounded unit, so a creature that has taken damage this turn. Very common in Civilization 6 to find a unit on the map that has taken damage. In Magic, since units do heal every single turn, it's far less common, so you really have to wound your unit, wound your opponent's creature this turn. Next turn, it'll already be at full health, so yes, you have to rely on some direct damage, some little pinging effect, so cast a lightning bolt, something, anything, in order to wound them now, and then and only then will they be considered wounded, but it's not unheard of, and there is one other civ out there, I forget which one it is, that has a similar power. So Tamairis has something like that also, relies on units getting wounded in order for her to get her boosts. And when your units eliminate a unit, they heal up to 30 hit points. So there's the concept of healing after killing someone. Let's take a look at how I turned all of that into one neat 3 mana card. So for only 3 black, white, red, she is a 3/5 human warrior rebel. She is a rare card that says attacking creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn for each creature blocking them that has been dealt damage this turn. And they have the same thing, but for blocking. Blocking creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn for each attacking creature they block that has been dealt damage this turn. This is very wordy, and I used to word it differently into a single paragraph that said whenever a creature you control blocks or is blocked by a creature that has been dealt damage, they receive bonus, blah blah blah. So it was more succinct. In a way, it was better worded, but it was also less powerful. It triggered whenever your creature became blocked or when it blocked a creature that had been dealt damage, so there was no room for surprises. The way I worded it this time, conceivably, the following scenario could happen. I attack. You decide to block. Then I do a little ping to your blocking creature is now damaged, and boom, instantly my attacking creature receives its +2/+2 until end of turn. The way I worded it this time, that would work. The way I had it before, it wouldn't, because it was a whenever your creature becomes blocked or is blocked by. So the damage, the ping would have had to be dealt before you declare your blockers. So it would have been, I attack, I ping your creature, then you decide whether to block or not. And now that you know what's in store for that creature, maybe you'll go, okay, I guess I won't block. And now I may have wasted a little pinging spell or something like that on that creature. And yeah, you just want, or either you won't block or you'll block with someone else, knowing what's in store. So I've shown my hand. With that way of wording it, I have to show my hand, I have to damage your creature, then you choose whether to block, making it a static ability. So blocking creatures you control get this, attacking creatures you control get this. That means that you can count on that ability to turn itself on at any time. It's not a specifically whenever they get blocked or block. So wordier this way, but better, more powerful. So good for Tamairis. And then she has her recurring ability. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, return from your graveyard to the battlefield any creature cards that were dealt damage by that creature this turn. So there you go. Whenever you kill an opposing creature, anything that they fought comes back to life. And of course, your creature doesn't have to be the one who killed it. Again, conceivably, there could be the following scenario. My creature and your creature fight. Doesn't matter who blocked or who attacked. Basically, they fight. And after combat, maybe I finish off your creature with a lightning bolt. Something like that. And when that creature dies, boom! My creature, because it fought it earlier in the turn, comes back to life. So, yes, it could happen that way. It could happen that they both kill each other in combat. And then mine is just brought back to life. Or yours could die well after combat is over, and the same thing would happen. So there you go, I think it's versatile enough. Your deck has to have a whole lot of direct damage to really ensure that this sort of thing happens, especially those first two abilities. You really need a lot of direct damage, a lot of pinging in order to count on your opponent's creatures being wounded, and being wounded at the right time. And I also made sure that the bonus was big enough. In the first iteration of this card, it was a mere +1/+1. Since it's pretty tricky to actually make use of this ability, it better be worth it when it works. So this is Tomyris, Warrior Queen. What do you think? Do you think that building her around a deck of pinging is actually worthwhile, or a deck of bringing back creatures from the graveyard, a recurring deck, reanimation of some kind? You've got some time to think about it, because we've got more cards to cover. The unique unit of Scythia is the Saka Horse Archer. It's a mounted unit, obviously, so a human horse archer. Like always, I always make sure that the horse creature type exists on a card like that. Generally, I'll always have to make sure of that, but especially for Scythia, since they are a horse tribal deck, potentially, so you've got to make sure that mounted units are not just a dude on a horse, but it's also the horse itself. So you've got a human horse archer, uncommon card. It has a lot of movement. In Civ 6, it is a very high movement unit, so I gave it haste to reflect that. And since it is an archer, I gave it reach. Of course, like any good archer in Magic. And because, once again, it is an archer, I decided to give it some pinging. So, tap, this creature deals 1 damage to target creature. That is not only very much on target for target, pun, but for a red card is perfectly suitable, but it plays in with the entire direct damage aspect of the Tomyris deck. She needs, as we've already said, a lot of pinging, so a creature like that can really open the door to wounding your opponent's creatures just at the right time to give your other fighting creatures the bonus that they deserve then. And also, this creature cannot block flying creatures with power less than 4. That is to reflect the fact that they have a very short range. In Civ 6, the unit indeed only has a range of 1, and I've done that with other units with a very short range. That is to reflect the fact that yes, they have reach, but they can only reach very low flying creatures. And in my definition of a low flying creature was a big, fat, powerful one, like a big, huge dragon. Something tiny and lighter and weaker would be able to fly higher, and therefore would be out of range of the Saka Horse Archer and similarly short-range archers. And so that's why the only flying creatures that they can block are 4 power or higher. And of course you get all that as a 4/2 creature that costs 2 red, 1 black, and 1 generic. The unique infrastructure of the Scythia is the much maligned Kurgan. I'm not sure if I've ever played Scythia, but I know from reading commentaries from the community of Civilization 6 that people really tend to regard the Kurgan as just about one of the worst unique improvements upon the land that you can build in the entire game. I'm not entirely sure why people say that, especially if you look at the Kurgan, it is something that scales up if it is surrounded by just the right sort of thing. So of course, you shouldn't call it bad, you should call it opportunistic. Maybe it is something that is only truly amazing if you find just the right spot, and I think that's okay. Lots of improvements are not made to just dot the landscape, like slap them everywhere. And I think that if you save the Kurgan for just the right spot, you'll be very happy with it. Don't expect miracles out of it if you put it in the wrong spot. So what is the right spot for the Kurgan? Well, it's pastures. It makes sense. Pastures equals horses. That's how you actually make horses in the game. And from those horses, amazing horse units that you need to actually tap into the Scythian abilities. So it all starts with pastures, and it makes sense that the Kurgan relies on pastures to generate some goodies. What does it generate? Well, it generates faith and gold. Gold and faith. And the more pastures you have around it, the more faith you'll make. Gold, as we said, will translate into treasure tokens, and faith will translate into scrying. And let's find out how I made the Kurgan and how I made it dependent on the presence of pastures. Pastures in this case will translate not to land improvements. Normally anything that is an improvement like a mine, a farm, a pasture translates to a land aura, but this time I thought, wait, hold on, a pasture is not just any land improvement, it is one related to horses. So therefore I made my Kurgan card reliant on the presence of horses. For 4 mana you've got this artifact. And yes, as we just said, most land improvements translate into land auras in my project, but look at it, this is clearly an artifact, so it was perfect for an artifact type. And it's a common card that taps and creates a treasure token, and then you scry X, where X is the number of horses and or mount creatures you control. So very straightforward, pretty good for a common, but it does cost 4. So there you go, I think that it is useful and well balanced. And what do you think? Do you like it better in Magic the Gathering form than you do in Civilization? Let me know. Now let's take a look at Tomyris' agenda, what she likes and doesn't like when you play against her in the game. She is backstab adverse, so that's her agenda. She likes it when you keep your word. She doesn't like it when you betray her, when you, well, stab her in the back, or whenever anyone else stabs anyone in the back, really. So when you break a promise, that's really how the game treats that agenda, is if you break a promise, she'll know it and she'll dislike you. So I turned that into an instant that punishes someone for attacking you. And the concept of being betrayed or being backstabbed, I turned that into being attacked for the first time in a game. It's not the first time that I've used the concept of, attacking for the first time in a game. I like to do that. It seems to be very useful. It represents the concept of first blood, betrayal, something like that. So I did it here as well. The card is an instant, uncommon, for 2 mana, 1 red, 1 black, and it says, Backstab Averse deals 1 damage to each attacking creature. If these creatures are attacking you or a planeswalker you control, for the first time this game, it deals 3 damage to them instead. So there you go, some direct damage, more direct damage, which kills, or at least wounds, which is very important, all of your opponent's attacking creatures, and you could potentially deal 3 damage, which could really do more than wound. You could really kill a lot of smaller creatures with that surprise. And conceivably, if you are being attacked for the first time this game by that opponent, then they presumably have smaller creatures because it's still presumably early game. So that 3 damage to all really might kill all of their attackers, because they are early game attackers. Now you might have noticed that the name of Tomyris' ability, Killer of Cyrus, I didn't put it on her card as the name of her ability, of any of her abilities. That's because I was saving it for a card of its own. I wanted not only a card that dealt direct damage in order to synergize with the commander, but also one that did some removal, some targeted removal, and that really fit in the theme of being the Killer of Cyrus. Cyrus being, of course, a leader in Civ 6. And what is a leader? Well, it's a legendary creature, of course. And interestingly, we tap into something a little special that looks like this deck could also be tribal on another level. It relies on rebel creature types, so you might think that, oh, this is yet another rebel tribal deck, just like Scotland, just like the Gaul, but not really. It doesn't have to rely on having many rebel creatures in your deck. You just need one in play. And guess what, Tomyris, the commander, she is a rebel, so all you need really is to have Tomyris as your commander, and that card will have its requirement. You just need one rebel to really maximize the power of that card. Let's take a look at the Killer of Cyrus sorcery. It's a common, black, white, red, and it says choose one. If you control a legendary rebel creature, you may choose both instead. So there you go, you just need your commander to be a rebel, which is indeed perfect for Tomyris. She is exactly those colors. It's her card, it was made for her. She is the Killer of Cyrus, and boom, you'll be able to pick both abilities. And for 3 mana, both of these abilities are pretty awesome if you get to do both. You will get to destroy target legendary creature, that's your Cyrus, and also Killer of Cyrus deals 3 damage to any target. And so you've got your direct damage that could conceivably wound a creature and therefore activate Tomyris's bonus. And if you do meet the requirement and you've got both abilities and you really want to be not just a Killer of Cyrus but an Annihilator of Cyrus, then you could conceivably deal 3 damage to Cyrus and then kill him. Why not? On that slightly sadistic note, I tell you good day. Loki the Gamer shall see you later when we do another Magic the Gathering themed Civilization pack. No, the opposite. A Civilization 6 themed Magic pack of another Civ out there. Let me know which one you'd like me to do next. I've done them all. It's only a matter of finding the time to post all the videos. And don't forget to like, subscribe, Neil. Any one of those 3 I'd be happy, but subscribing is by far the better one.